I lost my virginity at 12 years old, but at what cost? One day I decided to skip school and go downtown to play arcades instead. It wasn't the first time I did it, and it was a pretty common thing to do back then. I removed my uniform and hid it inside my backpack so no one could notice. I was walking downtown when a guy in his late 40s, dressed like an executive, waved at me. I thought he was the father of a friend who transferred to another school a couple of months before, so I waved back and kept walking. I stopped at a newsstand to check some comic books, and when I turned around, the guy was right behind me. "Hello," he says. "Hi me. How are you doing?" He asks. "I'm fine, you?" My answer. "I'm okay, thanks. Did you skip school?" "Not at all," I say, trying to lie my way out. "One of my professors is sick, so they give us the day off." "Oh, I see. So, what are you doing here?" he asks. "Nothing really, just walking around." "Oh, just like me. Do you want to drink a Coke?" "Sure, why not?" We went to a nearby cafe, one of the expensive ones but pretty much deserted at that time of the day, and he ordered me a Coke and some coffee for himself. We talked for a while, pretty much about nothing, and at some point, I asked about my friend. I was still convinced that this guy was his father, and I got a who? For an answer. So, yep, this guy wasn't my friend's dad at all. In fact, I had no effing clue who this guy was, as I never saw him before in my life. Yet, he was a cool guy. And I was an idiot, so I stayed with him. After a while, we started talking about comic books. He saw me looking at comic books on the newsstand, a subject he knew a lot about. He starts to talk about Catwoman and how he loves to wank to her. And you think that by that time, I should be running away, but, nope, I didn't. Instead, I was like, oh my god. I do that too. So we started to talk about how we both love to wank to comics, and at some point, he started talking about adult videos and how much he loves it. Back then, adult videos were really hard to get at my age, with movies being borderland impossible to get, so I was thrilled at the simple mention of adult videos. After a while, he asked me if I wanted to see some adult videos, which I obviously wanted to, and asked me to promise that I won't tell anyone, etc., and I agreed. He asked me to follow him, and we left the cafe and walk about 5 to 6 blocks to a sketchy gallery. I didn't know it back then, but there was a place inside with several adult video cinemas, both gay and straight, a small adult video theater, and even a whorehouse. He left me for about 20 minutes from the cinema door and told me to wait there while he talked with the door guy. I'm sure he gave him some money and gestured for me to go in with him. We took a flight of stairs and a couple of turns and got into a really small cinema, with a 3x2 mount screen and about 20 seats. The place was dark, but I could see 3 guys in the front row and a girl taking a black cock up the booty on the screen. And the place was loud. We sat in the back row and watched the movie, with the guy always making comments. At some point, he tells me it's okay to fap there and starts touching himself over the clothes. I do the same. He takes his dingling out and starts to fap. I do the same. By the way, he is fapping, looking at me, not the screen. He asks me if I ever wanked to someone else while doing the same to me, which I did at a friend's house, and I tell him so, and well, yeah, we start doing that. One of the guys from the front row, an old bald guy, notices me and comes to sit right near us and wanks watching, but I really don't like the guy, and I'm getting nervous, and I try to stop what we are doing. The guy with the suit obviously doesn't want us to stop, so he tries to convince me to stay, but he is not being rude at all, quite the opposite. But it is not working, and I'm starting to get my junk back into my pants when he says, "Will you be more comfortable with a girl?" I said yes. Then he tells the bald guy, who apparently knows him, "Go get Sarah." A couple of minutes later, he returns with a girl, probably in his 20s, dressed as, well, a whore. The guy with the suit talks to her and makes me sit on the 3 degrees place, rows of 5, with the girl to my left and he on my right. Not exactly sure when, but by the end, the other 2 guys were watching us too. The girl takes her top off and makes me touch her, and she and the guy with the suit take turns jerking me off. The guy asks if I want to F her, and I say yes again. The girl gives me a short BJ and gives the guy with the suit a condom. The guy puts the condom on me, and while I'm watching the girl dropping her panties, the guy also blows me a bit. The guy pretty much leads me on what I have to do, including grabbing my dingling and putting it inside of the girl, and then with his hand on my booty, proceeds to mark the rhythm, while fapping furiously with the other hand. I didn't last long, nor did he, and as soon as I came inside the girl, I felt a worm sensation in my leg. Yeah, that. The guy thanked me for this and even gave me about $100, which was a lot back then, for promising I'll drop by and ask for him soon. I never returned because of fear or anything like that, I just didn't want to. I never fully understood the level of what happened until a couple of years later. The police raided the place, and many people got arrested a couple of years later for this kind of thing.